All right, this is the next episode of True Wrestling Fans Discussions, considering our Survivor Series retro pay-per-view review series. I'm your host, Mike.
I'm Frank. This one, this has got to be the first Survivor Series. I gotta say, I was not impressed with. I did not really enjoy it. Um, the match that I was promised, I was denied, which would have been a great match. And there's no Survivor. There was only one Survivor Series contest with ridiculous rules. I'll get into that when we get to it. But this is the first time that they did not have a 4-on-4, 5-on-5 for the entire card. This was a straight up pay-per-view.
Well, technically they did. Technically they did have a 4-on-4. Technically,
yeah, with the ridiculous rule.
Yeah,
and that was, and I'll get to that when we get to the match.
This didn't feel like Survivor Series.
No, and everything kind of changed over a matter of a few weeks on this. As far as the card goes, there was only one substitution for this one, and that was the Ultimate Warrior for Mr. Perfect.
Yeah, only one substitution, but it was
a major
substitution at the last second.
I mean, look at the poster for this. When they had it as Savage and Warrior versus Razor and Flair, they had Warrior in there and they had Flair with the belt, and then all of a sudden that got washed out. So then your main event now is Bret Hart defending the title against Shawn Michaels, and now all of a sudden the Intercontinental title is on him, and it's not title for title, but it's champion versus champion, which I thought was that kind of saved the card, and I'll get to that in a little bit. Opening match was high energy against the Headshrinkers, the new arrivals in the WWE. Owen and Koko weren't new arrivals, but they were a new tag team together. They looked like they were cab drivers with the checkered. I mean, the parachute pants. Even at that time, that was an in thing in fashion. It wasn't an in thing in fashion. The Headshrinkers had just come in from WCW, Samu and Fatu. So with the manager Alpha with his little turkey in his mouth there, I thought for the most part Owen and Koko, they showed off the high flying abilities. They tried to go toe to toe with the Headshrinkers. You're not going to go toe to toe with an overpowering team like them. It was 7 minutes 40 seconds. The Headshrinkers got the victory with their Samoan splash, and of course Bobby Heenan with his little brain scan. I mean, by this point now, it's getting a little silly.
I just thought it was funny,
but I mean, it was all right. But again, this didn't feel like a Survivor Series. This felt like I hardly have a roster left. Let me see what I can get out there.
Pretty much, yeah.
By the end of 92, because again, I've always said, look at the roster in the beginning of 92, and then look where we are now, and go, wow, what happened? So our next match was kind of a little hardcore, a little extreme in it. Now, the stipulation was a nightstick on a pole match. It was the Big Boss Man versus Nailz. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't it supposed to be the person that grabbed the nightstick was the only one allowed to use it?
I don't know.
Because it just went total chaos after that.
I don't know. Nailz was bad, man.
He was a bum.
Even his promos were bad. And then when he would come out to the ring, he looked like he was constipated.
He sounded like he was when he was talking in the interviews.
Yeah.
I mean, he's having a seizure.
Yeah.
I mean, where did Vince think this gimmick was good?
He was supposed to feud with Ultimate Warrior after this too.
God help us all.
Yeah.
If he would have. Yeah. This guy, it's just this gimmick didn't work. I was glad when they finally fought, so you can get rid of this clown. He couldn't wrestle. Even when he went to WCW, he couldn't wrestle.
No, they only got rid of him because he choked out Vince.
I honestly think that if he didn't do that, Vince would have gotten rid of him eventually.
Yeah, probably.
So I mean, Nailz did his
this
promo.
Was a stinker.
It was, and then he goes out to the ring. They're interviewing the Big Boss Man, and he's talking about Lord and Justice. He doesn't even wait for his music to hit. He just goes out after him.
Bossman did have a catchy theme song, though.
I liked it.
Yeah, Hard Time.
And, of course, Nailz didn't have one. Nailz, his signature move was choking you out. I mean, this guy really didn't do anything. And,
I mean, who's worse?
Exactly.
Nah, Zeus was worse. No, Zeus was worse.
I don't know. If you ever had a match
Zeus,
between the two.
Zeus had a better look. I'll give Zeus that.
Yes.
But as far as in-ring work,
like Nailz always saying, "Oh, they made me take steroids." Yeah, how can we tell? You're wearing a jumpsuit. I mean, really? I don't even know what the guy could have had a beer belly under there. I don't know.
Um,
But I mean, they Boss Man gets the nightstick off the pole. He's allowed to use it now, but then Nailz is using it. So I'm like, okay, where are we going with
yeah.
this? Then all of a sudden, I mean, this was a 5-minute, 44-second match. So you've built this feud up since the beginning of the summer. That Nailz took out Boss Man. That at SummerSlam in London, that it had to be Virgil, the sacrificial lamb, to go up against Nailz. So we're going about 5-6 months of this feud, and you give us less than a 6-minute match of this. I guess they realized that, you know what, never mind, we can't do this.
It would have been even worse if it was any longer. So thankfully, they spared us.
He hits his finisher and pins him, and Nailz backs out of the ring and he's walking backwards, and I'm like, good riddance. We'll never see you again.
Nailz is supposed to feud with Undertaker too, I think. Didn't they start that feud on Superstars of Wrestling?
Damn, how many more of his main eventers did he want to kill?
Yeah.
I mean, why not feud with Hogan when he got back? I mean, come on. You want to feud with Bret too?
I don't know.
I mean, this guy, I wouldn't put him against freaking Aldo Montoya.
Off topic, and I don't want to get too sidetracked, but I feared when Kane first came in that Kane had nowhere to go in his storyline, the way Nailz had nowhere to go after he feuded with Boss Man.
Oh, you mean with Kane and Undertaker?
Yeah, I thought that was going to happen. Thankfully,
they went to Austin next.
Kane turned out to be spectacular.
Awesome.
But, a little side.
I mean, again, not to get on the sidetrack, but you can't tell me that after that feud, when Austin got a hold of him, that you didn't have goosebumps watching Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, absolutely.
When those two got it. So, yeah, it was pretty good. Yeah. Our next match was a WrestleMania 8 rematch. The Native American Tatanka versus the model Rick Martel, who looked like he was going yachting.
He stole his feather.
Yeah, which is how the feud kept going.
That's all this Survivor Series was the feuds.
Past feuds.
Yeah, that's all it was.
That's all it was.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's like it was just thrown together.
Yeah, they got rid of
it because I honestly didn't think he had enough to do a 4-on-4. He really didn't.
I mean, like you mentioned earlier, I think they lost Sid, they lost Warrior. Although Warrior was supposed to be in the tag match. So
yeah, okay. Hogan's on hiatus.
But Hogan's wherever. Did Piper leave already?
Yeah, Piper was gone.
Piper had left.
Bulldog's gone. Even though they mentioned him in this, he was gone.
He was supposed to face Mountie on this though. It was supposed to be for the IC title because he was not supposed to lose to Shawn Michaels. It was supposed to be Bulldog versus Mountie.
Yeah,
he was supposed to defend the title against him, but the roster was depleted in comparison to what they had.
I mean, yeah, they didn't even have the Mountie on this card, and
because he was supposed to be with Bulldog, so they're just like, all right, set this one out.
There was no Duggan. Slaughter wasn't wrestling at this time.
Right, but who cares? Slaughter was.
Barbarian was out. I mean, Santana's on his way. I mean, it was a
big turnover. It was a huge. Yeah, this is a transitional period. But Tatanka, I like Tatanka. Tatanka was over.
Yeah, and so unfortunately, we've said this many times, never given the chance, not even at a mid-card title.
Yeah, so
had the shot at it at WrestleMania, but never grabbed it. And he gets the victory here against Martel. It wasn't a bad match. Martel could still wrestle.
That was all right. Martel's always a good wrestler.
I mean, he'd be around for another couple of years, so at least they had him because he didn't leave until '94. So I mean, Tatanka, he helped get Tatanka over yet again, with which he was still undefeated. It was an 11-minute, 7-second match. Tatanka gets the victory, still undefeated in the WWE. Our next match. I like
Tatanka's theme song too.
Oh yeah,
and I used to like when he used to get fired up because it kind of reminded me of the Warrior a little bit.
Warrior, yeah, with the dance.
Yes. I used to do that shit all the time in school when we used to play wrestling. All that shit all the time. Jesus Christ, good times, man. And I like the end of the trail. I always enjoy the end of the trail.
So, now our next match is not what I wanted to see. I wanted to see the Macho Man Randy Savage and the Ultimate Warrior.
We all wanted to see that
versus Ric Flair and Razor Ramon. And unfortunately, what was it? A week and a half.
Yeah, it was right
prior that he gets terminated. So Savage has to come out with a partner, and they're on Primetime Wrestling, and they're asking him who you picked for your partner. He goes, I need the perfect partner, if you know what I mean. And they're like all confused. You had Hillbilly Jim. You had Duggan, Vince, Heenan, and Perfect around the table. And Savage is like, read between the lines. And, they pointed Perfect. At this time, they're laughing it off like, haha, that's funny. Perfect's not doing it. But over the course of the night, Heenan starts getting in Perfect's face. He goes, I take orders from Flair, you take orders from me and Flair, and you'll have to love it. And then they get into the argument. He chokes him out, pours the water, tells him, I'll be your partner. This is pretty much their way of getting him back in the ring.
Yeah,
he's now been medically cleared.
Yeah, not for nothing. Like, this was actually well done, considering they had a scramble at the last second. Mm-hmm. And I could tell you, like, I was so disappointed as a kid when I found out the Warrior was gone, and I'm like, he's gone again, and you don't really know what's going on behind the scenes.
No, because the internet wasn't.
You don't care. Your favorite wrestler is gone, and you're like,
exactly.
The level is, I can't explain the level of disappointment that I had when Warrior.
Oh, you and me both.
When Warrior was, because I love Warrior and I loved him with Macho Man, and I wanted to see that match, and then this happened. But and like I said, credit to them, because this was actually pretty well done. Mm-hmm. The whole thing with Perfect, they got kind of lucky that Perfect was available to wrestle.
Yeah.
It could have even been a better storyline had it dragged out a little bit, had they not, like, had it been a build-up where, Ric Flair is being condescending towards Mr. Perfect, and Flair would tell him, like, you don't have it anymore. Like, it could have played out really, really well, but I understand they had a scramble, and you got to give the fans a big event. Like, you can't, like,
you've already promised them this match.
Right, so you got, and,
you can't.
And Perfect was, I mean, you couldn't get a better substitute at the last second.
Exactly.
So,
yeah, I agree.
It actually, all things considered, it worked out. But here's the thing. They put him in a mid-card match.
Yes, this wasn't even the main event. Not even the undercard to the main event.
In a mid-card match.
This was the fourth match on the card. Now, the one thing I was hoping for back then as a kid was the one guy that was missing, obviously, was Hulk Hogan. And when Warrior went out, the first thing I thought of as a kid when I was watching this going, what if Hogan came back and
Mega Powers?
The team with Savage to face these two? Talk about saving the pay-per-view.
Yeah. That would have been huge.
Oh, yeah. But, I mean, it was just as good. Perfect is a damn good wrestler.
Oh, yeah, great wrestler.
He showed it off in the ring. He was in the ring probably more than Savage.
He was. It seemed like it, at least, while I was watching it. I think he was. He started off the match in there for a while. Looked great. He looked like he didn't even lose a step.
No, he didn't. And what was he? A year and a half almost that he was out.
SummerSlam '91, I think.
Yeah. And what's funny is, he almost pulled a heel because it was a while that Savage was in the ring getting beat down, and Perfect just starts walking off. And he's looking back, and the fans are like, go back. So finally he's like, screw it. He goes back to the ring. Fans are giving him the ovation. So he's trying to pump Savage up, and Savage gets the tag on him, and he gets back in the ring. And I love how he did the perfect plex on both of them.
Yeah.
To show, look, I could still do it. My back is good. Savage and Perfect win by disqualification. I couldn't exactly see where the disqualification was, other than Flair with Savage on the outside with the steel chair. But as far as in the ring, unless Razor shoved the referee and the camera didn't catch it, it was hard for me to see where the disqualification was.
Yeah, I don't know. I just know that Perfect had the chair at the end. And then you're still thinking, like, hey, maybe he might hit Macho Man with this chair or not. And then eventually he puts it down, and they do the high
Savage
five.
Got his hands up for a while,
waiting, looking around, and it was well done.
Perfect wasn't bad as a fan favorite. I liked it, but
I still always laugh when Razor would say "perfecto." It always made me laugh for some reason. It's the way that he said it. I don't even remember how Ric Flair and Razor Ramon even linked up. Like, I don't even remember how they became a team.
They just paired them on, I think, a primetime wrestling.
Yeah,
because when Razor came in, his first feud was Tito during the summer on the house shows and Superstars. So then
Razor was never with Bobby Heenan, so I didn't understand.
I think they were trying to prep somebody else to be in the main event, just in case. Because again, how the roster's depleting, they kind of elevated them. Not to mention the fact that we know the history with Scott Hall and Kurt Hennig.
I know, because
them working with each other also.
But when you really think about it, if Perfect was already cleared, and maybe he just got cleared after that whole Warrior fiasco happened, but if Perfect was already cleared and ready to rock and roll, it should have been Perfect and Flair versus Macho Man and Ultimate Warrior.
Oh, I agree. I think
it would have made more sense.
His clearance was in the fall because I think he was supposed to make his return.
Yeah.
They were going to do a Flair Perfect thing that led into the Rumble and whatnot, but unfortunately it had to be pushed forward because of everything.
Yeah, speed it up. So, either way.
they got Razor into the main event status just they had to start pushing somebody quick.
Yeah.
Now you're going to lose Flair.
Razor was on the rise
in a couple of months, and look, I mean, they gave him a shot at the title at the Rumble, and I mean, he did pretty good.
Yeah.
So it's just a shame we didn't get the Warrior, man. Our next match was, I really feel bad for this guy, Virgil versus Yokozuna.
Another beating
of Yokozuna, another member of the Noai family.
He just got his ass handed to him by Nailz.
Nailz at SummerSlam,
and now, hey Virgil, I got a job for you.
And what's funny is if it not only did he get the leg drop from Yoko, but Yoko screwed up when Virgil got whipped into the corner and Yoko's going for the splash. Virgil gets out of the way. He tries to roll him up. And as Yoko's kind of going into it, he falls down and just sits on him. I thought he was dead. And, I mean, this was a 3-minute, 34-second domination of Virgil. Of course, it's going to be. And Yokozuna gets the victory. And you talk about a guy that got pushed ultimately fast. Another guy they had to hurry up and get going, yes, because of everything that's going on. But this one worked out. I mean, even Razor's worked out, too.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, Yokozuna gets the dominant win over poor Virgil. I mean, I felt for this guy, man. You talk about a workhorse that could get in there with anybody. I mean, when they showed Bret Hart, I remember the Bret Hart-Virgil title match on Superstars, and Virgil went toe-to-toe with him. So, obviously, Virgil's not going to be in the title picture, but, I mean, he looked good against him.
I would argue that's a credit to Bret Hart and not Virgil, because Bret Hart can make anybody look great. Anybody.
Oh, I know that, but Virgil wasn't exactly a sack of potatoes here. Come on,
he
was average. He was average.
No. He was all right. He was all right.
He was entertaining. The fans were still giving him a pop.
The problem is he had nowhere to go after that DiBiase feud.
Unfortunately, yes,
nowhere to go.
Correct. They didn't give him another feud.
Yeah, nowhere to go.
He was just placed in one after the other.
Yeah,
just matches. So our next match was if you want to call it a traditional Survivor Series match, only it wasn't.
It wasn't. Yeah.
It was the Natural Disasters and the Nasty Boys versus Money Inc., the WWE Tag Team Champions, DiBiase and IRS, and the Beverly Brothers. Oh, now, unfortunately, the stipulation in this match was if one of your partners got pinned, the team was gone.
Yeah,
that didn't make any sense.
No, you know what that was? They just wanted to speed everything up and they just wanted to get it over with. That's all it was. It
was just about a 16-minute match too. I mean, the only other match longer than this at this point was the Savage match, and of course the main event.
And I don't know how you felt. I did not like the Nasty Boys or the Natural Disasters as baby faces. Those guys to me were heels. Yes, I didn't like either team. It just didn't work for me. And they had just left the Nasty Boys. Jimmy Hart had just left them, right? Because he screwed them out of that title shot.
Yeah, they got the #1 contendership. Yeah. He gave it
to Money Inc.
And they beat the Disasters for the titles.
Yeah.
And now he's lost both teams for just the one. I got to agree. I mean, the Earthquake and Typhoon weren't bad as fan favorites through the end of '92, but I got to agree that they were better as heels.
They were better.
And the Nasties were always better as heels.
The Nasties, they were the Nasty Boys.
Exactly.
The Nasty as they want to be.
The name. Exactly. Yeah. But again, the Nasties are another team. They're on their way out.
It's a shame too. They never get the titles back ever again.
No. They never. They had 2 title shots in '93. House shows against Money Inc., and that was it. Before WrestleMania 9, they were gone. At that point, the Natural Disasters were gone because Typhoon had left WWE, and then Earthquake was on hiatus until he came back in '94. So I mean, everybody you got in this pay-per-view is pretty much this is probably their final farewell.
Beverly Brothers,
Beverly Brothers or Royal Rumble.
Yeah, but nobody cared.
And then that was it.
Nobody cared about the Beverly
Brothers.
The
Steiners whooped them, and that was it for them. And then even Money Inc.
But this was
nobody really thought that
this was a stinker.
I
think this was a stinker, bro. I don't think anybody cared about. I didn't get the feeling in the arena that people really were invested in this match.
No, and there was only 3 pins. I mean, the first guy to get eliminated, Earthquake eliminates Bo Beverly at the 9-minute 25-second mark. So now the Beverly Brothers are gone. Rather than be 3-on-1, it's 4-on-2. And then for me to believe that IRS can pin Typhoon. Even though,
I didn't know.
Even though it was a little chicanery going on there.
Right. But
now you're down to a 2-on-2, and
then
IRS loses to the Nasty Boys.
Jerry right away.
Gets the pin
right away.
Yeah, It was literally 5 seconds after the pin.
They were just like, just get this over with. We got to move on.
Now, to me, if the Nasty Boys are going to be the sole survivors, then obviously you're looking to do something with them going forward. And I mean, one of them, I believe, was in the Rumble because the other one was injured. And then that was it. You never see them on a pay-per-view again. Just a couple of house shows where they did face Money and they're gone. This is what I'm saying. Everybody in this card, pretty much, this is probably the last time you're going to see them. Look at Boss Man. One more pay-per-view after this, and then he's gone. Our next match was kind of a joke for me because this is, I mean, I don't know. It was a coffin match, casket match, but this is what they called it in the beginning. It was the Undertaker versus the Ugandan giant Kamala, who's back now for what, the third time?
You know what I didn't mention? I forgot to mention about. What was the match that Doink came out? Was it the Tatanka match?
Oh, I forgot about that. He's over there making balloon animals.
Yeah, I'm like, what is he doing here?
He had no business in the match because he's not doing anything with either one of them.
Yeah,
I don't know.
This is a bad pay-per-view, man. I mean, we'll just talk about it at the end, but yeah.
You sure this didn't belong in 95?
Yeah, seriously, it would have fit right in. So the
Undertaker and Kamala. Kamala's deathly afraid of the casket.
Yeah, it wasn't. This is what I feel. I don't know if you feel the same way. To me, that feud was over in SummerSlam.
It was.
That was it for me.
I didn't even like the match at SummerSlam.
Like I wasn't, and I didn't even like that match either. But I felt, well, at least Undertaker had that badass entrance. He had that. Came on the hearse, right?
Yeah.
For me, that was the end of the feud, and I felt like I don't care about this feud anymore.
No, because by this point, Kamala's broken. You know, if he's trying to be a badass again, like he used to be when he was there, it's not happening anymore because the guy is like, the start of the match, he's going for the chop, and the Undertaker's not, I mean, he's going around the ring and he's going to keep chopping. I'm like, dude, either hit him or leave the ring.
No, I wasn't.
Then he had and he's running away. Kimchi, because remember,
Kimchi.
Whippleman started this huge thing against the Undertaker.
Oh yeah,
Giant Gonzalez, Mr. Hughes, all that nonsense.
That's right.
Unfortunately, which was bad. I mean, what you did with the Undertaker to start the year was great. What you did with him at the end of the year was
But this match, I just didn't care for, man. I was over this feud.
Now the stipulation again didn't make any sense because the Undertaker gets the pin.
They got
I thought you had to put him in the casket to win.
They said you have to pin him first and then put him in the casket.
So these were different stipulations from when we went forward. Oh Lord! So he throws Kamala in the coffin and he nails it shut.
He's nailing it, but I don't know if you noticed, he was breaking the casket as he was hammering. Like he would hammer a nail in and it would break off.
Yeah, cheap wood,
cheap casket. Yeah.
Well, what do you expect? Vince didn't have any money at this point.
So,
and this was pretty much the end of Kamala because then he goes fan favorite after Harvey dumps him. Quick side note with him, it was one of the first Monday Night Raws. They had a battle royal, and Kamala and Kimchi are in it. And literally, like Kamala eliminates him and then chases him. And for the whole hour of Monday Night Raw, you see Kamala just chasing Kimchi up on the balcony, and you see the two of them going at each other. I mean, that was comical stuff before he left. See, another one left. Now on to the main event, which I believe saved the night. In my opinion,
it did, but barely. The problem with this was that it got thrown together at the last second. Like they started at the Saturday night's main event when Shawn beat Bulldog. He basically challenges Bret backstage during an interview segment.
Yeah,
and that's how. So it was literally just thrown together at the last second. And there's a couple other problems with that too, because this is the transition period where Bret just got the title, and now he's fighting a guy who just got his title, right? Who felt
he was being stagnant and just complacent because they didn't figure. He figures his career is not going nowhere, and he went to Vince about it, and then all of a sudden, okay, we'll go put the IC title on.
No, but only because the Bulldog got suspended, fired, whatever you want to say about it, and you just threw these two together. And Bret wasn't really at this time. Bret's not a megastar yet. Neither is Shawn. Like Bret is on his rise. So you have a champion versus champion, but neither one of them are megastars yet. This is not Hogan versus Warrior title for title. Like it's not that. First of all, the IC title wasn't on the line. That's another story. But my point is, and then you're changing the way you're doing business. Like no more like big guy. This is the big guy era is kind of over at the top, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they had a lot of things working against them because of all of those factors. Last minute transition. Bret is not really a megastar yet. Shawn's not a megastar. For me, a champion versus champion match should be a huge deal, and it should be built up. I had the same criticism of Bret versus Diesel in 1994.
Yeah, I agree. That there literally was no build up. It was just like you said, a match thrown together. But as we look back now, there was never a bad Bret versus Shawn match.
But you know what's funny? This is the forgotten match because when people talk about Bret versus Shawn, they talk about WrestleMania Iron Man match and the Montreal Screwjob.
Yeah, exactly.
This is the match that never it's forgotten, and they didn't even. I could be wrong. They don't even reference this when Bret fights Shawn at WrestleMania. They don't even reference this match. Like they don't even. Bret doesn't.
They don't. I don't think.
I could be wrong.
No, I don't ever remember them talking about it.
But I don't remember Shawn saying like, "You beat me in '92 when I was just coming up, but I'm not the same guy." I don't remember him saying anything like that. No. So it was like
it was just a modern day. That was it. Just
right. Where the boyhood dream, the boyhood dream. Like it just.
This was the lost match, and I don't know about you, but you notice that these guys have a pattern in November. They're always fighting in November.
93,
92, 97, and then not to mention
Shawn was a replacement in 93 because.
And let's go back to the tag team Survivor Series match. It's always like the two of them are around each other in November, and they were testing the waters with Shawn in the beginning of the year when Savage first became champion again. That he fought him on the European tour. He did pretty well. But then he kind of dropped back a little bit, fought Martel, which was garbage. And then he said he felt complacent. He goes to Vince and where am I going here? It just happens that the IC title then fell in his lap with the Bulldog. And like you said, there was no build up to this match.
No, and Bret had just gotten the title from Flair.
Not about a month ago.
Yeah.
At this point. So,
I mean, they tried though because Bret was defending the title like crazy leading up to this.
Oh yeah.
Like
Martel, Virgil, everybody was on that.
I think Berserk. I think he might have beat the Berserk.
Oh Lord!
But
and not to mention, Shawn during this time. Marty Jannetty just came back because Sherry wasn't at ringside for this match because of the altercation.
Yeah. She was still singing.
The Mira.
She was still singing.
She was still singing the theme.
Yeah.
So Jannetty was back in the picture now against Shawn. So after his suspension, like you said, this whole thing was thrown together.
Yeah, I did enjoy Bret's promo when Bret was saying about 8 years he's been there and he had a claw from the bottom and go through the tag team ranks and everything. And they were billing Bret as the fighting champion. They mentioned his title defense is leading up to it. And it was only a month, but still,
exactly.
A bunch of people. And with Bret, he made the championship belt believable, like because Bret wasn't larger than life. Hogan was like larger than life. Warrior was larger than life. Like Bret was like a wrestler. They would transition, but it worked though. It worked.
It did, and this match it was really good between the two of them. Again, 26-minute, 40-second match.
I like Shawn's promo too. I want to mention too that Shawn mentioned. He's like, "Wait, let me ask you something. Who beat Bret Hart, British Bulldog?" He's like, "Well, who did I beat for the IC title?" And they're like, "What? Bulldog 1 + 1 = 2." I think that's what he's something like that.
Exactly.
So
Shawn did some great promos in 1992.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite.
Finding his way.
My favorite when I go back to this match was at the Royal Rumble when they were talking about what he did to Jannetty, and he goes, "Think about it. I just saved you 29 other beatings. Of course, not like the one I gave you, but 29 beatings nonetheless. That was classic to me. I'll always remember that one.
But this was a good match. A little long.
Yeah. Almost 30 minutes.
Yeah, but we got to see the ability of both of them. These are two of the best wrestlers ever, technical wise. Like
they're showing Vince, okay, if you're going through a transition phase, we're your guys to go to. We're going to pull out all the stops. We're going to show you that, okay, if you have no more Flair, no more Hogan, no more Warrior, no more Sid, you got us.
And this was when Shawn didn't have the super kick. It was just a regular crescent kick, and that wasn't his finisher.
I didn't like the finisher. It was move that he got
teardrop suplex. I think that's what it was called. Yeah,
I remember seeing that in the video games for the first time, and I was like, "Oh God!"
Royal Rumble,
What is this?
Yeah.
I'm so glad he went to this super kick as his because you remember even in the Royal Rumble when he was singles wrestler, he was using the super kick for everybody.
Yeah.
But yeah, he used it to set up the teardrop,
Yeah.
and it didn't work. And he makes one mistake in the match coming off the top rope, which he kind of landed for perfectly, so that Bret could put the sharpshooter on him, and Bret wins the match by submission and keeps the WWE Championship.
That's the same. That's almost the same thing that happens at WrestleMania when Bret catches him, puts him in the sharpshooter, and then time expires.
Almost identical. Yeah.
Yeah, but no. Overall, what can you say? I mean, like you said, they never had a bad match. Did kind of save the pay-per-view, but I gotta say, man, I think from our reviews, this was the worst one. I think
out of all of them that we've done,
yeah,
and then this is the last one for the season for Survivor Series. This was, out of the whole lot, this was the worst one.
And I hate to say it because we got Bret versus Shawn, so how could it be?
Exactly.
But this wasn't Bret versus Shawn later on.
Yeah, this is not 1996, 1997.
Right, with the build, and also the roster was depleted. And then the suspensions with Bulldog getting suspended in War, it just put
Warrior's gone, and it was just, and then Hogan's in hiatus, hiding, until he comes back in February. I mean, it was just, it was what it was. Unfortunately,
it's kind of a forgettable one.
I honestly tell you that 93's was better than 92. Yeah, they went back to the formation of the Survivor Series matches.
I know, even though 93 was a mess because of what happened with Jerry Lawler.
Exactly, and they just threw Shawn Michaels in there with 3 scrubs,
3 bums off the street.
But it started one of the best feuds of 1994 with Owen Hart.
That's true. All right, well, now our next episode of our retro pay-per-view series, we're going to WCW and Starrcade.
We don't know which one yet, so we're going to keep you in suspense. But
so we're going to do a few of those.
We're going to do a couple of Starrcades before we hit the Royal Rumbles.
Yeah. So you guys let us know what you think about the Survivor Series. Like, comment, share, subscribe. We'll see you guys soon.